Hey guys, this week the new mini expansion Breakthrough Catalyst arrived, and as with every expansion so far, we will take a look at the cards and rate them on a 1 to 5 star base. Make sure to let me know what you think about the new cards, and if you like the video, make sure to hit the juicy subscribe button. And now let's jump into the rating. Wow, I just sounded like a robot in the intro. Yeah, since there are only 4 new cards for each main faction, I'm doing them all in one video, so I'm not spending too much time for each card. And we start with the Panzer 3F here for Germany. 3-3 Blitz tank with the ability that your German tanks have Blitz, but I think the most strong part about this card is the deployment effect. It gives all your other tanks, not just German, +1/+1. A really strong effect. If you compare it with the Fast Heinz, it's a 1k order that gives +2/+1 to only German tanks and only in the front line. And here for 2 credits more, you get a 3-3 Blitz tank, plus all tanks are getting buffed. I really think this is a very strong card, and I rate it 5 stars. I think it can make Fast Heinz a viable deck again. Then we have the 5th Panzer Grenadiers, a 2-2 infantry that has the Pincer ability to give Fury. Oh, also a very strong Pincer effect here. If you imagine doing this on a Comet, for example, you can just, for 8 credits, deal 8 damage, which is better than a Bismarck. And you have a 2-2 body left on the board. Also a really strong German card here, and I would also give this 5 stars. Okay, then we have the 2k order Rally that gives your units +1 attack, removes pin on them, and draws a card. What makes Rally viable, I think, is the possibility that it's just replacing itself and gives a unit +1 attack, even if your opponent is not pinning your units. For just 2k, it can be very surprising for your opponent when he's playing Monty, for example, and think he's buying himself a turn, and then you just drop the Rally, give your units +1 attack, and kill him. But the problem is that it's in comparison with Blitzkrieg, for example, not reducing the operation cost. So it's more of a late game card, I guess. So I would give this still 3 stars. And the final German card is the FW 190 Yak Bomber, a 5k fighter that is returning an enemy ground unit to owner's hand as a deployment effect. So 5k for 5-4 fighter is a good one alone, and the deployment effect is also really strong. So I would give Yak Bomber 4 stars. It's a good card, good elite. So Germany in general got some really cool new cards and also strong cards this expansion. I'm pretty hyped to try them out. Then we're going in with the first Brit card here, the 4k Spitfire Mark II 3-5 fighter that has +2 attack if guarded. So another option in the Spitfire deck here with the new Spitfire. 4k for 3-5 is also okay, with the possibility to have 5 attack if guarded. So I would give this card maybe 3.5. Then we have a very interesting card, the Long Range Desert Group 5k order that gives your opponents the ability, when this unit deals damage to a unit, destroy it. So that card is really strong in commandos, because with every hit your commandos are doing and hitting units, they are dying, even if they're having heavy armor 3, because the ping from the commando is penetrating heavy armor. So yeah, good addition, because usually commandos have problems with big HP units, and yeah, this card is helping him to deal with this. Then we have a countermeasure doubting system, a very highly discussed card when it was announced. For 2k, you can counter an enemy order with cost 3 or more. So doubting system is always giving you a positive trade because it's only costing 2 and your opponent has to spend at least 3 to trigger it. But you're also risking to just waste 2 credits every turn. So there's, and in comparison to Ultra, it's not drawing you a new card. But it can be good against research, for example. And yeah, I think I rate this 4 credits. Might be interesting to see how the meta develops. And yeah, it also can be in comparison to Ultra, where, for example, counter-offensive is getting countered, and yeah, the doubting system is not countering counter-offensive. So it can also be a dead card in aggro matchups or something like that. So that's why I would not give this 5 stars, but 4, I think it's still a good card. Then we have the number 3 commando. That was the card that I revealed, by the way. For 3k, a 3/3 infantry. Units with 5 or more attack cannot attack. So this is also counting your own units. The only problem with this card is that it's only having 3 HP. So I doubt that this will stay for that long on the board. And it is in a lot of removal range. So let's do one thing. It is the number 3 commando with a lot of 3s on it. So let's give it 3 stars, okay? Then we're already at US cards. The Allied Research Effort. That adds a random US or British unit or order in your hand that costs 7 or more. Very likely played in ramp decks that want to have some value stuff there when they got their ramp into the game. But it's very, very random what you get. For example, you can get a Rule Britannia out of this, and if you don't have any Brit units, it was just 1 wasted card and 1 wasted credit. So I'm not sure how good this card is. I think I give it 2 stars. Then we have the 4 credit order Shore Bombardment. You can choose to deal weather 3 damage to a unit or give a unit +2/+3. So you can do this on every unit at +2/+3, which can be good, for example, on bombers or on artilleries. But 4k is kind of expensive, so I doubt that this card will see a lot of play. I think, and the 3 damage for 4k is also not that great. So maybe also 2 stars. This 60s Infantry Regiment is a very interesting card. For 4k you get a 3/5 infantry unit. And when this unit is fully repaired, it adds a copy of itself to the support line. I really want to try out this card. It's a limited, so you can have 3 in the deck. And it would be really cool, for example, if you have 2 of these and have an order like Cadet Nurse Corps and repair those 2, you're already getting 2 back. So this can snowball really, really fast, I guess. And I really want to build a deck with this card. So I give it, although it's interesting, I don't think it's that strong. So I'm just giving it also 3 stars. Next card, B-17F, 10k bomber with 6/6 stats and blitz and heavy armor 1, and it cannot be targeted by enemy orders. I really, really like this card. It's way better than the Super Flying Fortress, in my opinion. And I really want to try it out. For the rating, I think I would give this card 4 stars. the effect is really strong that you cannot target it, so your opponent needs a good fighter to stop it from attacking your HQ, or an Avenger or a Naval Brigade, something like that. So it can be hard to deal with your opponent. Then we are already at the Soviets here. 3K order. At all cost. Destroy a friendly unit. Deal 2 damage to all. So in which deck would you play that? So I think a good target could be maybe a Shiker for at all costs, because then you deal 2 damage to all and still get that 3-2 fighter. But I don't like 2 damage to all. That can also just go into the wrong direction and you're killing your own units. So maybe let's give it 2 stars. T60, a 2-4 guard tank that gives you a T34 1942 to your hand on destruction. Yeah, T34, it's okay, but 4K for 2-4 guard. I'm not that convinced of that card. I mean, you always get an additional card here when this dies. So it kind of replaces itself. It's not really, but it gives you card advantage, I guess. So it's not too bad. Let's give it 3 stars. Another interesting card is the 170s Sitomir, something like that. I know it's wrong, but I forgot how to pronounce it correctly. A 5K infantry unit that has ambush and gives all your other ambush units double attack. Wow. Just imagine this having 0 for example is a fighter that has ambush. An 8-4 0 you don't want to have against you. But yeah, 5K is also kind of expensive. And 5K, 5 health. Yeah, I think it might be too slow. If it would be I think a 3K with 3 stats and damage, something like that, it might see more play than for 5K. But the effect is interesting, and maybe somebody is finding a really broken deck with it. But for now, I think I would give it, yeah, 3 stars too. Then we have the elite one here for Soviets. It's the 8K order Winter Offensive. Deal 4 damage to all. So it's like an improved carpet bombing, but you also are damaging yourself. And 4K, also dealing to your own units and your HQ. Looks not that great. Let's give Winter Offensive 2 stars. Next one is the Japanese order Reorganize. For 0K, you can choose a card in your hand and shuffle it into your deck. And afterwards you're drawing a card. I'm not really sure what that card is for or what combinations you can do with it. I'm not seeing a super strong one at that moment. What you can do with it maybe is shuffle the 35th rifles back into your deck. So you have the chance to drop it from the 34th infantry unit. But other than that, I don't see any good combos. Maybe this card is to prepare something for future expansions. But at the moment, I would just give this card 2 stars. Because you also have the possibility to shuffle a card that was affected by Blackwatch, for example, shuffle it back to your deck and draw it at resetted cost. So maybe this is why I give this card 2 stars instead of 1. Next one, Yamagata Regiment. 2K, 0 operation cost, very interesting. And it has the ability that it is getting Ambush, Blitz and Fury if you have no cards in hand. And keep in mind, guys, this card, this effect is not a deployment effect. So as long as this guy is on the board and suddenly your hand is empty, it is gaining Ambush, Blitz and Fury. Really, really interesting card. 0 operation cost makes it really, really strong, especially with Lightning Conquest. I really want to build a deck with this card, and I think it can be very strong. Yeah, the rating. I give it 5 stars. I really like this card. 2k, 2-3 stats is okay. It has 0 operation cost, which is always, you always have to take care that units are not getting too strong with 0 operation cost, especially with Fury. Yeah, let's give it 5 stars. Next one, Sneak Attack. 5k order. Destroy target unit. Remove copies of it from owner's hand and deck. So it's like a Blade of Samurai, but for 2 credits more. And it also removes all copies of that card. For example, if you hit a Sherman of your opponent with it, all Shermans in hand and deck of your opponent will also get deleted. Really interesting. But 8k to get that removal, not that great. If you compare it with Empire of the Sun, you get for 10k remove a unit and draw cards equal to that, which is way stronger than removing copies of a card your opponent is not already having out of his deck. So yeah, I would prefer Empire of the Sun over this. So I also just give this 2 star. Then we have the elite here for Japan, the Diner KI-46. A 1/3 fighter that draws you 2 1-cost units on deployment. Very interesting. In my opinion, very strong. If you compare it with, for example, a Convoy that draws you 2 cards for 3k and is in order. This also gives you a 1/3 fighter on board and maybe makes you draw 1-drops that you need. For example, in Japan, a Signal Regiment. So yeah, good card. I give this elite 4 stars. Okay, we are done with the main factions. Now for the ally factions here, for Italy and France, only two new cards were announced. Yeah. And yeah, first for Italy, it's Mare Nostrum. Give a unit +1/+1, and damage dealt by this unit adds equal defense to your HQ. It fits well into the Italian out-heal your opponent style, where your fighter, for example, is getting +3/+3 when you have 5 or more health on your HQ than him. And it gives them a unit +1/+1, so you can maybe buff an L6 with it early, out-heal your opponent, and then you drop your fighters. Yeah. I think I go with 3.5 maybe. It's not a 4, it's not a 3. Let's go in between, so 3.5. La Decima. 2/4 infantry with ambush and guard with 8 credit cost. But on deployment, it destroys a target unit in the enemy support line. So it's like a torpedo attack, I guess. But with a 2/4 ambush guard body. And yeah, also one difference. Torpedo attack is an order, so you have to... You have a lot of countermeasures that maybe play around that. And here there's only evasive action that counters this. So it can be stronger than the torpedo attack, but still 8 credits removal, and you just get a 2/4 body on the board. I give it 2 stars. Final 2 cards here. For France, we have Defend in Depth. Deal damage to target unit equal to cards in enemy hand. So you have a range of 0 to 9 for 3k. So you need at least maybe 3 cards to make this card. Your opponents are usually having more than 3 cards in hand. So I think the average damage you get out of this is maybe 4, 5, something around that. For 3k, can be good removal. You can target anything you want with it. So it's not just ground units or air units, you can hit anything. So it can be a good addition in a mobilized deck, for example, to get rid of enemy units. Or in a resistance deck. So you give your opponents resistance card and this will deal more damage. I think it's a good versatile card. That's why I give it 3 stars. And the final card for today and for this expansion is the Bloch MB152. A heavy armor 1 fighter with 2/3 stats that makes your units not lose mobilized when damaged. Very interesting. Good addition to the mobilized theme. We already had a lot of good mobilized cards when Breakthrough came out, and now with Catalyst, maybe mobilized is getting even stronger with this guy here. I think it's a good card. Heavy armor is also good. Makes it maybe survive longer, and so your units are growing and growing. So let's wrap it up with 4 stars here for this card. Alright guys, that's it already. I hope it was not too long. How long have we been into? Okay, almost 20 minutes. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, and I hope we see us in the next games when we try out all the new cards. Bye bye.